What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennis. We got a hashtag solo Pat video today. Appreciate you all for stopping by. It's going to be all about the trade deadline. We are so close from the actual trade deadline itself this year. So I guess we kind of break down what we think the Yankees are going to be doing, what they're not going to be doing, what we could expect from them. Also, after the recording of this video, the Yankees did announce that they traded Luis Cessa and Justin Wilson to the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for a player to be named later. This seemed like the definition of just a salary dump in the sense of they're just letting the Reds take on Justin Wilson's contract. Unfortunately, they had to attach Luis Cessa to the deal. I think that's the part that kind of blows my mind the most. One of the guys who's been the Yankees' best relievers this season. You're telling me that you couldn't dump Justin Wilson's contract without attaching Luis Cessa to a deal? It just blows my mind because obviously this is a deal that kind of, I guess, maybe hints to the Yankees preparing for something bigger. But the fact that the Yankees had to part ways with Luis Cessa just to free, $3 million in luxury tax space, I think it just kind of goes to show like the sad state of the franchise and how they're just, I want to say that they're cheap. The fact that you just give away Luis Cessa just so you could get Wilson's money off the books, it frustrates me. But also, it's one of those deals that I think can lead to something bigger, so I'm not going to judge it just yet. But yeah, I had to throw this in there, so enjoy the video. I think it's so confusing this year because we really don't know what to expect, right? Expect the unexpected. But before we get into anything today, everyone be sure, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season, so stay tuned for all that content. But like I said, the basis of today's video is kind of what we could expect this Friday's trade deadline. And to be honest with you all, I've never been more puzzled about a Yankee team going into the trade deadline, simply because I guess before we could kind of address the names that the Yankees could be looking at and potential deals that can be made, and also maybe some players that can be traded from the Yankees, I think we could kind of talk about like the current state of the Yankees and what kind of got them here. As of right now, the Yankees are about 3 games back of the second wildcard spot. They've definitely underperformed this season. I think that's a very nice way of putting it. But despite the fact that they've underperformed and been so inconsistent, they're still in the postseason hunt very heavily. So I think with that being said, everyone's screaming for the Yankees to be sellers. Don't expect that to happen before Friday. But also, I don't know if we could expect them to be like hardcore buyers in the sense of going out and acquiring like 2 out of the 4 top names on the trade market. I think the Yankees are going to they're going to go with the same approach that they've kind of gone with, not only in past trade deadlines, but also in the offseason. I think they're going to go for very low risk, high reward guys. And while that might not seem like the most enticing option, it seems like the option that the Yankees have been leaning to the most lately. But I don't want to talk about like those random names that no one wants to hear about. Let's talk about the big names and whether or not the Yankees actually have a big chance of getting them. First guy I want to start off in talking about is Trevor Story. I think that he's probably the guy that most Yankee fans want right now and Yankee fans are clamoring for, only because I think he might make the most sense for this team. I know that they have holes in the outfield, the rotation, the bullpen, but I think putting a bat like Trevor Story in the Yankees lineup can only mean good things in the Bronx. We're looking at a guy who, yes, he's having a little bit of a down year in Colorado, but I think also you kind of put him in a park like Yankee Stadium. I think the numbers go up tremendously. I saw a graph. I don't know where it was. Shout out to whoever made it. But there's so many fly balls that he hit in all these massive NL West parks in Arizona, in San Diego, in Colorado. That would be home runs in Yankee Stadium. So definitely keep that in mind as far as Trevor Story goes. But we're also talking about a guy who would improve the Yankees defensively, right? Because you trade for Story, he becomes your shortstop. And then Gleyber Torres becomes your everyday second baseman once again, a position where I'm pretty sure he's better at defensively than short. And then DJ LeMahieu becomes your first baseman, and obviously you have Gio at third. That makes Luke Voit very expendable, whether or not you want to deal him for Story, if the Rockies are even interested, or you can flip Luke Voit for maybe a starting pitcher. That's a possibility too. I don't know. But bottom line, like, I don't think anyone could sit here and tell me that they don't want Trevor Story. Now, obviously, it would kind of depend on the package that the Rockies are asking. I'm assuming that it probably wouldn't be too much. It's most likely something down the line of what the Orioles got for Manny Machado back when they traded him in 2018, I believe it was. It wasn't too massive a deal. And also, like, you have to remember, Trevor Story is a rental, so he's not going to be commanding like way too much as far as prospects go. So I think Trevor Story would be an awesome fit for the Yankees. Do I necessarily think that they're going to get him? I don't know. We did hear a report that the Yankees did make an offer, as did many teams, but apparently rumors are the offer wasn't too great, which I'm not surprised about. The first offer is probably never too great, but I will say this, out of all of the kind of top tier trade targets out there, I think Trevor Story might be the most likely as far as the Yankees go. I don't know. But another guy I do want to talk about, this guy's a little bit more controversial when it comes to the Yankees fan base and who they want at this year's trade deadline. That's Joey Gallo. Listen, I love Joey Gallo. I know a lot of people might disagree with me when I say this, but I think he might be one of the best fits to put in the Yankees lineup, maybe even more than Trevor Story, simply because Joey Gallo is a big left-handed bat. And I know a lot of people are going to make the argument he strikes out a bunch. He's not the type of hitter that the Yankees need. They can use an Adam Frazier. Hate to break it to you guys, Adam Frazier is now on the San Diego Padres. So he's kind of out of the question. So I think with that being said, Joey Gallo might be batting in the 220s this season. We're talking about a guy who has close to a 400 on base, is, if not the most elite defender, outfield defender in the league. He's one of the most elite defensive outfielders in baseball. And not only that, but he has an elite arm as well. We're talking about a guy who would make an immediate impact in the Yankees organization. And bro, he would absolutely rake in Yankee Stadium. You put a big left-handed bat like that in Yankee Stadium, he would absolutely mash. You give him a full 162 game season in the American League East, he might hit 45 home runs easily. And I don't even think that's hyping him up too much. He might cost a little bit more than Trevor Story, simply because apparently the rumors are that the Rangers are going to be looking for 2 top 5 prospects for him. I'm going to be honest, that might be something that I do. Especially if you look at the Yankees' top 30 prospects, according to MLB.com. I'm pretty sure 2 of their top 5 would probably be Deivi Garcia, if the Rangers would even be interested, or even Clark Schmidt. Let's just say Deivi Garcia and Oswald Peraza, I'd probably make that trade for Joey Gallo without batting an eye. I'm sorry for anybody who likes the prospect hug, but unfortunately, Deivi Garcia and Oswald Peraza aren't going to be making an immediate impact on the Yankees team anytime soon. So if you get Joey Gallo for them, I'll take that any day of the week. I would love to see him mash in the Bronx. I don't know. I think, like I said, it would probably take a little bit more than that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see as far as what the Rangers are willing to do. Because like I said, it's not a Story situation where he is a free agent at the end of the season. So the Rangers don't necessarily have to trade Joey Gallo if they don't get an offer that they find reasonable enough. So yeah, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, a Joey Gallo trade possibility is probably a 4 out of 10 right now. Meanwhile, Story is probably a 5. I think that's probably fair. Just because I could see the Yankees going for the guy who has the lower price at this point. But the final guy that I do want to talk about here is a guy who I kind of wish, I don't even know if it's worth time touching on, but I love Max Scherzer, and I want to just touch on him really quick. I think it's just so unfortunate that going into this year's trade deadline, I think we all were dying for Max Scherzer. And unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. He has a no trade clause. And apparently he's not going to be waiving it to go to either New York team in this case, I guess. But once again, I know a lot of Yankee fans are coming after Max Scherzer for this. I personally can't blame him. For a guy who's getting up there in age and who is also a rental at this point, why would he waive his no trade clause to go to a team who might not even be making the postseason this year? Because while I mentioned that the Yankees are heavily in the race, it's not a guarantee that they're going to be making the playoffs this year. So why would Max Scherzer go out there and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'll waive my no trade clause, and a right that I've kind of earned for having such a good career. Why would he do that to go to the Yankees when he could easily go to a team that's much more heavily in the mix, like a division leader, unfortunately the Red Sox? Imagine he goes to the Red Sox, or the Padres or the Dodgers or just the Giants, another team like that. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that doesn't seem like the Yankees are going to be able to make a serious push for Max Scherzer, but it is what it is. Another guy that I guess we kind of touch on that would improve the Yankees' rotation, Jose Berrios. The Twins look like they're kind of in sell mode after trading Nelson Cruz. Like I said, obviously it's not the same situation as Cruz because Cruz is a free agent at the end of the season here. Berrios is not. But I think that he's one of those guys where the Yankees could go out, make the Twins a decent offer, and I think that they could acquire Berrios for not too ridiculous of a price. But no matter what, if the Yankees do want to improve their team this season, they're going to have to give up some prospects. And that's just kind of the definition of how it goes. So if I'm Brian Cashman at this year's trade deadline, I'm going after 2 guys. I'm going after Joey Gallo. I know. Sorry, chat. And I'm going after Jose Berrios. I think that that's probably the most logical situation here because you do need another arm in that rotation. Giving the Yankees a solidified number 2 behind Garrett Cole in Berrios would be huge. Also in the sense of it moves everyone down a peg, right? Tyone then becomes your number 3. Montgomery becomes your number 4, and Herman becomes your number 5. And you have a solid rotation if you do plan on making a deep run in the postseason this year. I would also like maybe a reliever. Maybe the Yankees think Clay Holmes is that guy, a guy that they recently acquired a couple days ago. Maybe that's going to prevent them from going out and getting any more bullpen help, but I don't know. And Joey Gallo, I just think that he would be an awesome fit in the lineup. I'd love to see him mash in the Bronx. But also, don't sleep on Trevor's story. I would also love if the Yankees acquired him too. But at this point, there's really nothing we could do besides just like sit back and wait and see what happens. I'm almost positive that we are going to see the Yankees do something. I just don't know what the magnitude of the deal is going to be. But I think it would be shameful if the Yankees just kind of sit back on their thumbs this trade deadline and do absolutely nothing, because they do have a window here. It's starting to close with this young core. And I would love to see them kind of just go out and just go for it all this year, especially being so close to a second wildcard spot. Why not, right? You don't want to waste Garrett Cole's prime. You don't want to waste Aaron Judge's prime. So Brian Cashman, you're probably not watching this, but if you are, please make some sort of impactful trade for the Yankees at this year's trade deadline. Go for it. But guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, chat. The trade deadline is, I believe, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, this Friday, 2 days from now. So stay tuned for that. Everyone, be sure, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season. So stay tuned for all that content. But stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. You guys know the deal. Peace.